Hi, my name's Scott Perry and I'm here to introduce the Salamander slider. The Salamander slider has been designed to be both an indoor and an outdoor slider. It excels in the outdoors because it's been made of all weather resistant components. The actual rails and the struts that hold them together are satin anodized aluminum, as well as the carriage itself. All the hardware that holds it together is stainless steel, and the feet are rubber and nylon, as well as the end feet. We have a black strip that's sitting in the system groove here that is mainly an aesthetic, as well as a protection for the actual system groove. One great feature of this design is our carriage is trapped on the inside of the rails. So if you were to damage, typically walking around you might whack the sides of your slider. If you do that with a slider that actually slides on those surfaces, it's going to start to affect its ability to slide. Ours being on the inside keep them a little bit more protected, less likely to get damaged, so that your slider will keep on moving smoothly. As I said, we have a cover on this side, but if you go ahead and look at it on this side, you can see that there is actually a system groove on essentially all four sides. The carriage runs on the inside system grooves. If we take out our covers, we can actually go in here and put in a 1/4 nuts, and we can mount magic arms or other type of accessories. So perhaps we want to put a monitor on here but not actually have it on our carriage on the camera. We can do that. The struts themselves have 3/8/16, and you can put in a 1/4 adapter for mounting to tripods or light stands. And one of our another feature is our rubber feet here. We go ahead and take these boxes and put them up, and as you can see, we can actually move these feet along the bottom of the slider. So you can basically, if you have an area where say a table and chairs or whatever, but they're not in line with the typical end alignment of the feet, you can take these feet, align them to your objects that you want to put your slider on, and there you go. And because the slider itself is 5 inches wide, it has a nice solid footing in most cases. You only have to be careful if for some reason you have extended weight hanging off the front, say a large lens or something. You also have to be cautious if you do have a lot of weight on the carriage, that you don't have so much weight that it will tip it over. Now, to give an example here, we've moved them in a reasonable amount, and here I got a 5 pounds. I can put it on the end. It's still not pulling it over. So unless you get it really heavy, you'll be pretty well off. And in fact, let me go ahead and touch on the weight bearing. Putting this here just as a spacer. I have some your typical lifting weights here. These are 2.5 pound weights. So right now I put 5 pounds on it, and you can see it's still very smooth. I can push it with my pinky, absolutely no issues as far as moving the carriage, and that's pretty much well below most of our typical DSLR type cameras. But you may want to put something bigger on there, so let's go ahead and add to that 5 pounds another 5 pound weight. So we're now up to 10 pounds, and as you can see, it's still very smooth sliding. So those resin bearings that we're using, those slides are really handling the weight. And still pushing it with my pinky, and not a problem. Now we're at my limits here. I got another 2.5 pounds, which is all I have in the office. So that gives us 12.5 pounds of weight. And again, no problem pushing it. I'd still push it with my pinky, but now it's getting I'm starting to feel the weight. And so essentially what we actually qualify the slider that it's good for up to about 20 pounds. And it's not that the carriage couldn't hold more than 20 pounds. It's that at that point, due to gravity and friction, it'll start to get hard to push. So we really don't think that it's that it would be appropriate to go much over 20 pounds. But it is possible. But there you go. There's your weight, and whether this is this side up or upside down, that stays the same. Okay, let me go ahead and show you how things mount to it. One of my boxes here, I have a small ball head. You can put a ball head on here, you can put a fluid head. As you saw, we had 12.5 pounds on there, so a decent sized fluid head and decent sized camera, you're still way below that kind of weight. I really like to use a ball head, and I will show you some of the advantages to that. This one's kind of small that I'm using. Had it for quite a few years, so not necessarily the most attractive in the world. So you can see it's a through hole. I went ahead and put my screw through, attached it to the head itself. And this is actually using a 1/4-20, but the through hole is actually able to take up to a 3/8/16. So whether you're going directly to a 3/8 video head or going directly to your camera's 1/4-20, both will work with that hole. And let me grab a camera. Go ahead and put a camera on my quick release plate. This is a Arca style plate. There you can see, moving smoothly. As far as technique, one of the things I've learned to do is I like to kind of pinch the rails with my fingers, and that helps me get a little bit more control. And even 2 fingers helps me to keep that nice steady motion going. So whether you want to go slow or you want to go fast, it's not an issue. Now, another advantage, now that we have our head on here, I can show you that with the carriage captured in between the rails, we don't have to worry about the camera falling out. So I'm going to actually take the camera here and go ahead and loosen up this ball head, and I'm going to set it at an angle. And now, obviously I'm hand holding this. This would be much better if you actually had it connected to a tripod or something. But now I can actually use my slider as essentially a mini jib, with some advantages due to the fact that my plane of focus won't change going straight up like it would if I was using a jib which runs on an arc. So that's nice. Let me show it from the front. So that's a nice feature. And again, if you were mounting it upside down, I don't quite have the space here, but you could be running this right across the surface of something by actually mounting it upside down. So that's kind of a neat feature there as well. So that kind of gives us a good overview of your basic Salamander slider, the manual version. But I do want to touch upon some of our other products. The fact that we use the system groove, this type of metal, for our slider gives us so much capabilities to do more with the slider. Let me go ahead and put this on the side. And let me go ahead and show you Here's where we've taken a 48-inch slider, and we've actually mounted a motor which mounts to the top of the rails, and we've mounted a idler assembly here at the other end, and as you can see, here is our drivetrain in between. So that's like a great feature, great add-on. We have a lot of different controllers for that motor, so make sure to check our videos on the motor controlled slider so we can kind of show you how those different drives work. But that kind of covers it. I hope you like what you see and have a great day.